Hey there, and welcome back. Last time I was doing my winter checkup of my 1967 Sunbeam Alpine. In that video, I made sure that everything was working correctly and that we are ready to tune the carburetor. This car has a Weber 3236 DGV carburetor, and I think these get a bad rap because most people don't know how to properly tune them. Most of the instructions and videos on this carburetor are dealing with just the basic idle setup. So we're going to do a deep dive into full tuning this carburetor. In the last video, I should have left plenty of clues to show where I was going, and I did a little bit of investigating into my carb in that video, finding out what jets I had in it, and now I have put a plan together. So I did find my jet kits, found some parts that I didn't know that I had, so I've got some pieces in here that I think are going to be helpful in tuning this today. So let's get started. The first thing that we want to adjust on this carburetor is the idle mixture, and that's done with this screw right here. So you want to take it all the way in and then take it 1.5 turns out. I showed that in the last video. That is the default starting position. So let's get the car started and try to set our idle mixture. All right, the car is running and idling, so I'm going to screw this in until the engine starts to run worse. And there, we're all the way in, and the engine is still running. It should not be getting enough fuel to run right now, so that means that we need to change our idle jets. And the main idle jet is located under this screw right here, and then there's another one on the other side for the secondary idle jet. Okay, let's take the idle jet out, and there is an O-ring on it, so it might be held in by the O-ring a little bit. And the jet actually sits inside of the screw, so we can pull the jet out of the end of it. That's what it looks like right there. And now we need to try to read the number on it. This one is a 60. I have a couple 55s in my kit, and here's one here. So I just need to push that into the bolt. Now I can screw this back in. I have the new idle jet in, so now I need to screw this back out 1.5 turns. So there's half. There's 1, there's 1.5. Now let's start the car and see if it runs. The engine does run, which is good news. Now let's try turning the screw in. I turned the screw all the way in, and it did kill the engine right at the end there. I think I want to pull the main idle jet out and take that one down to 50 from 55. There's the main out again. You can see that little O-ring fell out. Get that pushed back in. So I'm going to take out my 55. And this one here should also be a 50. Looks like it is. So I'll get that pushed in, reinstalled. Now let's see if it'll run. It's running, so that's a good sign. Now let's try to screw in the mixture screw and see where it kills the engine at. Getting close. The engine finally got too lean and died with about 1/2 turn left, so this is something that we can deal with. I'm going to reset the screw again to 1.5 turns out. Now I'll start the car up and we'll try to set this to best lean mixture. I'm going to be using my dyno to tune this, and at home you could use an O2 sensor gauge, or you could just do it by ear. My target is going to be about 16.5 on the AFR scale at 800 RPM. Let's start the engine, see if we can get there. Engine's running, we are at 1.5 turns out. And it looks like our starting point is just under 700 RPM, and we're at 13 AFR right now. So I'm going to start turning that mixture screw in as well as the idle speed screw, see if I can get 800 RPM, with 16.5 AFR. We're now at around 16.5 AFR, around 800 RPM. We can move on to the next jet. The next thing I want to do is tune my main carburetor. Essentially, we have two carburetors here, the main and the secondary. And the secondary isn't really used until the throttle is opened all the way. So if I pull the throttle up, you'll see that the throttle's moving and this carburetor is opening. But it's not until this lever over here contacts here that it then is opening that second carburetor. Right now, I only want to focus on tuning my main carburetor. So I'm going to use some safety wire to go between this hook and this post. That way, the second carburetor can't be activated. So I'll take my length of safety wire and I'm going to try to push it up that spring. Okay, there's one on that side. I'll take the other end, also push it up there. And ideally, I want this wire to come up on the other side. Now I'll pull this wire up, making sure to have that loop in the hook down here. And now I can just tie this together up here. So I'll lock my safety wire pliers on, give it a turn. There we go. And I can cut that off. Now that no longer can come down and activate that second carburetor. So I am free now to only tune on the first carburetor. I won't be able to open it to full throttle, but we'll get enough data to start tuning this and get it close, and then we can throw this one into the mix. Well, that run didn't last very long, but we are very, very lean. So that means we need some bigger jets. Let's find out what our main jet is and put a bigger one in. If we look inside the carburetor, this is our main jet right here. This is our secondary jet. So I'll get this one out and we'll see what it is. Here's that main jet and it looks like it's a 140. So looking at my kit here, 145, 150, and 155 main jets. And I think I'm going to jump up to a 150 first and we'll try that. So I'll put this jet in, put it back together, and we can make another run. It looks like my gasket has gotten a little torn from messing with it, or possibly just from the backfiring up through the carburetor. Don't worry about that, I'll put a new gasket on it later. And this air leak right here, if there is any air leak, that is before the throttle plate. So this is not a vacuum leak and it's not going to affect anything with the carburetor. Time for another run. Okay, we're getting there, but we are still far too lean. So let's move up another jet size. Okay, now I'm gonna put in the 155 main jet. Let's run it again. We're still not there yet. Let me see if I have some bigger jets. In one of my other kits, I should have a 160 main jet. So let's find that and put that in. I got a couple right here. Let's try it again with the 160 jet. All right, it's obviously running considerably better than it was before. We made it through that run. I think it's time that we remove this cable and let the secondary open, and we'll work on tuning the second part of the carburetor. Now when we move the throttle, the whole thing's going to open. Now that I've changed my main jet up so much, I need to remove my secondary jet, which is this one right here, and we'll go up in size on that one as well. The one that was in there is a 135, And because we have a 160 in our main, I'm going to put a 155 in the secondary. All right, let's make another run, see where we're at. Okay, if we look at our air-fuel ratio now, we are starting out at about 12 at best safe power. And this is where our main jets are going to affect the most. And then our idle air is going to come into the picture there. So now let's change our idle air. We want to make that bigger, which is going to lean out the top end. And we'll try to make this curve a lot flatter and stay right in the best power range. Our air correctors are right on the top, and we can read the sizes of them without taking anything off. We have a 165 and a 160. So I think I'm going to bump up to a 190 in the main and a 180 in the secondary. I have the 190 and 180 air correctors in. Let's see if that's enough to lean out our top end. Looks like it leaned it up way too much, so those air correctors were too big. Let's jump back down a size. Okay, we started with 165 and 160 air correctors, and we went to 190 and 180. I don't have anything real close in this kit, so I found another kit that I had, and I have a 170 in here. Now I have 170 for the main, 165 for the secondary. If you haven't figured it out already, tuning is just a bunch of trial and error. Every car is going to act a little bit different. So if you have an infinite number of jets and time, you can spend all day playing with one of these. Looks like we have now stumbled across a really good combination. We're right there at our best safe power at wide open throttle. It's basically held it the entire time, all the way up till I stopped at about 5,400 RPM. We're up to over 27 dyno runs on this engine. Of course, not all of those are from right now. Some of these date back to 2016. But this shows what making small changes in the correct order can do on your Weber carburetor. Start with your idle jets, then move to your air jets, then go to your air correctors, and then go to your accelerator pump jets if you need to. And that's going to be it for today. I'm going to get this car off the dyno and take it for a drive. So if you want to see more videos like this, comment below and click subscribe.